Welcome to Spiritual Happy Hour. We are thrilled to have you with us because we serve spirits.
Wah, wah, wah.
And we are honored to have our message today from Joeaux Robey. I know it's going to be beautiful because I heard a little bits and pieces of it earlier. And I want to thank Randy Luna.
That guy is amazing, isn't he?
He is so amazing. And you get to hear him 3 times. Once in the beginning, then a specially created original song. Well, the first one was a specially created original song, too. Then the middle one is specially created with the theme of joy in mind. And then another one at the end.
And you know, it's so cool how Randy does that because we go in the studio and we record these, pre-record these. And then Randy says, "What's the title of your talk?" And then we're off doing something else, and he just starts playing. And all of a sudden, Carlicious and Marilyn and myself realize, this is beautiful music. And we look over at Randy, and he's just like doing his thing. He's in the flow of it all.
And he is in the flow of it all. And with that flow, he connects with the theme that we are talking about because we've given him the title, and that flow moves right in. So today he's going to move into happiness.
The happiness factor. And this is, sometimes we say these are loosely based on A Course of Principle.
Course what?
Sometimes we say these are loosely based on A Course in Miracles, the principles of A Course in Miracles, but this one is all about 2 specific lessons in A Course in Miracles.
Really?
Yeah. And it's kind of like Randy, because Randy knows his function in life.
Yes,
Wouldn't you agree with that?
I would agree with that 1,000%.
And you know, most people have no idea what their function is in life.
It is the most asked question of
Yes,
Adirondack.
it is. And boy, do I know the answer to that question. In fact, it's something that I absolutely love to help people figure out. So listen up, light worker. Your function in life is simply to be happy. Thank you very much. That's the end of today's Spiritual Happy Hour. I told you it was going to be really, really short. That is the happiness factor. Let me say it in another way. It's simply to live in joy. Or as Adirondack says, be the love you are. And what I've seen in my own work, because I do help people reinvent themselves through my online program called Mission Possible, is that most people don't always know how to be happy. In my experience in life, this is backwards. What was the title of that great Wayne Dyer book? I'll see it when I believe it, or I'll believe it when I see it. I think it was I'll see it when I believe it. It's so true, right? In A Course in Miracles, lesson number 83 is a review of lessons 65 and 66, which is exactly about your function in life. Lesson 65 is, my only function is the one that God gave me. And lesson 66 is, my happiness and my function are one and the same. I know that my only function is to be happy. That's what God wants for me. That's what I want. And when I zero in on it, and I do my best to remember this, no matter what is happening around me, it pays off in big happiness dividends. The happiness factor is to be single-minded in my pursuit of happiness. This is my one and only goal. Now, Marilyn might argue with this because it seems like I have lots of goals, but that's the main one. So whenever my negative voice kicks in, whenever my can'ts, my don'ts, my shouldn'ts decide to take over, I just remind myself quite simply, my only function is the one God gave me, to be happy. I know this is radically simple. I watch people trip over it all the time. In fact, sometimes I have to pick myself up because I've tripped over it. And as a reminder to myself, to basically create a habit of this, so that I really do lead a life of happiness, I reflect. I meditate. I have ACIM cards to remind me of this. I even have an app on my phone with ACIM lessons. And of course, I've got my stretchy bracelets to catch myself in negative thinking. I just change one bracelet from one wrist whenever I have a negative thought to the other one so that I can be aware, so I can be in the habit of at least being aware of my negative thoughts. So I can choose something positive instead. And I think this is one of the course's best suggestions to remember. This is my mission in life. This is our mission in life. And then, of course, lesson number 65 is my happiness and my function are one. Meaning no matter what comes up, no matter how many games my ego wants to play with me or try to get me to believe it's keeping me safe, nothing can justify the illusion of happiness apart from my function. They're one and the same. And then I just substitute the word function for purpose. My purpose is to be happy, period. I could make this more complicated if you wanted me to. I certainly have lived many of my years complicating it, but instead I want to tell you a story. I recently watched this beautiful feel-good movie starring Anthony Hopkins called The World's Fastest Indian. I encourage you to see it. It's a great example of this Course in Miracle lesson of my function is the one God gave me. My only function is the one God gave me. And my happiness and my function are one. It's all about the power of choosing happiness and choosing your purpose. It's the true life story of a man named Bert Munro. Munro, I think is his name. An elderly man from New Zealand who sets out to break the world land speed record on, get this, his 1920 Indian Scout motorcycle. Now, the movie is set in the late 50s and 60s, so that bike that he has, it's already not state of the art. I mean, it is really old. And despite his age, he's an older man too, and the fact that he really has no money, he's determined to make his dream a reality. And along the way, he faces all kinds of obstacles that would have stopped most people, but he never gives up. And he literally just chuckles at any attempts to stop him. Well, he makes it to the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah, USA, to basically run his motorcycle in the international speed trials. And imagine this. He shows up with his old bike, and even though he never officially registered by the deadline, as is required, and even though his motorcycle in no way passes the safety inspection, his sheer determination wins over the hearts and people of those he meets along the way, and eventually his dream comes true. I won't give you all the details because I really think you should go watch it. It's The World's Fastest Indian with Anthony Hopkins on Prime. So anyway, Bert knows in some odd, very unpretentious, unsophisticated way that his only function is the one that God gave him, to be happy. And he's happy when he's going as fast as he possibly can. It's his dream, and his dream ain't going away, even with his age, even with the doctor saying he has a debilitating disease and he will never ride his motorcycle again. Fat chance of that happening, says Bert. Pursuing it, even during the times when it would stop most people, thrills him. It brings him his greatest happiness. And even though it could quite possibly cost him his life, he says, it's his life. Why is everyone else so concerned if he ends it by pursuing his dream? Bert also knows that his happiness and his function are one. Why? He's a happy guy, even in the face of disappointment. You got to see him and feel him to truly embrace this story. He's happy, and he's truly happiest while pursuing his dream. And he surrounds himself with people who want that for him. He doesn't let money or age or time or resources or rules or belief or other people's opinions get in the way. And I believe this is how God really wants us to live. We are sophisticated enough to see negativity and how our brain processes it for exactly what it is. And as Adironda always says, negative feedback, that's just good information. It's only our ego making a judgment call. And another thing Adironda always says is, now you know. Then I began to wonder, if this is such a radical concept, are most people happy? I don't know. I asked Google. Turns out the numbers vary greatly depending upon country, age of the individuals, and other factors. But as of 2023, the average global happiness factor shows that nearly 3 in 4 people across 32 countries are actually happier now. Global happiness has increased for the second year in a row. It's actually 6 points higher than a year ago and 10 points higher than it was in August 2020, just months after COVID disrupted people's lives all around the world. And the survey finds that people are most likely to say they are happy if they are satisfied that their life is meaningful, if they feel in control of their life, if they feel valued, or if they're satisfied with their mental and material well-being. I would say this is consciousness creating form, because the first 3 of those 4 aspects mentioned above are all about internal feelings. They're all inside jobs. They're all how we feel about ourselves. And the material well-being, that's just a result of how we feel about the first 3 aspects. And if the world overall has a global happiness factor of 73%, praise us! 73% average global happiness factor, according to Ipsos, that's ipsos.com, who actually measures the happiness factor through polls throughout the world. I mean, seriously, if on average, nearly 3 in 4 adults across 32 countries describe themselves as happy, then we're all creating a better world. Because remember, our only function is the one God gave us, and our happiness and our function are one. In other words, God gives us only happiness, and He has given us our only function. Therefore, happiness is our only function. And think about it, on average, 73% of the world agrees with this. The world is becoming a better place. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. That's what God wants for me, and that's what I want, and that's what God wants for you too. To be single-minded in our pursuit of happiness. This is our one and only goal. This is such a radical concept for most people, and it was for me too. And that's why I take time every single morning, even if it's only for 5 minutes, to reflect on just how important the mission of choosing happiness is. And that's what I want for you too. So now, we're going to take a few moments to reflect on choosing happiness while the Master Randy Luna helps anchor it in with his purpose, making music. And then let's see what else Adironda has to say about the happiness factor.
So it is good day to you, And good day to you, the master of the clock and the piano. And good day to you, the master of the camera and the 17 computers over there. And good day to you, the one who loves clapping. And it is good day to each of you. So it is the happiness factor today. Do you realize that so many times people get into the habit of being happy or not being happy? And it is very much of a habit as drinking a Dr. Pepper when you get up in the morning, if that is what your habit is, right? The Master Randy Luna does that. And it can be a habit just like anything else. And what we see is those people that are probably taking the survey that the Joy talked about, they are in the habit of being happy. And then there's a group of people that are in the habit of not being happy. So our question to you is, what are you getting out of that unhappiness? What are you receiving by being unhappy with the world? It is just 2 letters. Unhappy, happy. Unhappy, happy. Which do you prefer? We believe you would prefer the happy. But you see, so many times that habit of complaint, that habit of thinking the world is simply not working in my favor, or the habit of, if my family would only do blah, 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 or the habit of thinking, if my neighbor would only take care of their lawn, or not take care of their lawn, or do something different with their house. Those are all habits. Instead of thinking, if my neighbor, if my family, if my brother, if my sister, if my friend would only stop and think, I am so happy that my family is awakening. I am so happy to allow the space for the transformation of myself. For that transformation of myself. You understand what we say? Myself, we are not my, we are our. But you are a my. So understand that when you are always saying all of the negative things that cause the unhappiness in your life, those unhappiness things expand. Yes, we know, you know this. We know we tell you this multiple times. We wish you would get it. We see you getting it. We know that we are going to be able to provide you with new information so we don't have to repeat those things again. You see the difference in that energy. Trust that you have it capable within you to actually relax into a happiness. Do you know that it takes only 14 muscles in your face to smile? It takes 17 or 72 muscles in your face to frown, which means you will have less wrinkles if you smile more. So understand how that happens. The habit of depression, the habit of thinking the glass is half empty, the habit of thinking, I wanted something else on my hamburger or my fake burger or my vegetable sandwich or whatever you are eating. There's only one person that is in control of that. And you know, with your intention, you can shift the world around you. We think of our dear friend who used to always sit on something when we went to the theater together. Because she says, every time I go to the theater, I always get behind somebody big and tall, and I can't ever see the stage or the screen or whatever. And she says, I have to go back into my lifetime and figure out where that old habit is and what that old energy is. And we said, no, you don't have to do that any longer. We said, you just have to stop and set a new intention. You just said 5 times in less than 5 minutes how you always sit behind somebody that is tall and big, which causes her unhappiness. Huh? So we said, set the intention that every time you go to the theater or every time you go see a movie, you always have a clear view of the stage and screen. And we watched it happen. The next several times we all went to the movies or the theater, she had a clear view of the stage and screen because she set that intention. Not because she went back into her life and went to all the times that she was ignored in her life. Instead, see what you are wanting to be happy about. So you can't think of the process going along. Feel into the end result. In other words, the vessel Marilyn wants her new kitchen, so she's working on the new kitchen. So instead of thinking about all of the money, which we're talking to her, you realize, instead of thinking about all of the money all along the way, just breathe into the new kitchen. Breathe into the new look and feel of it. That is the end result, and let the universe take care of the rest. That is the foundation of the happiness factor. Because you see, the source of all that is, God, only wants your happiness. That is all. And they will give you whatever you ask for, in one way, shape, form, or another. They always say yes. And that is why you wear those bracelets, eh? That is why you have that intention and that energy of the yes factor. The yes factor is like the happy factor. And in that happiness factor, you, take a deep breath, are truly the only one that is in control. So we want to ask you, what is your habit? We know sometimes the vessel Marilyn, when she has a new idea or a new idea is presented, her immediate response is no. She's changing that habit. And now her immediate response is, let me think about that. For you see, all habits can be changed. They cannot be stopped, or they cannot be broken. That is better. They cannot be broken. They can be replaced by a new habit. So when you catch yourself going into that habit of negativity, when you catch yourself breathing into the old result, stop and ask yourself, what does God really want from you? It is all happiness. We know everyone has those habits. We've watched the joy. When something happens, she goes into this old story. I don't have this, I don't have that. The family does this, the family does that. And we say, stop. Is that really true? Understand that old habit is just that. And these two wondrous beings of light have volunteered to help you learn what happiness really is, that it is within you. To help you learn that the fact that you are creating something beautiful and wondrous just by breathing in and out and stepping into your world, that is the key to being happy. To realize that you are not CEO of the universe. You are only CEO of how you respond to that universe. And we say, that must be divine order. Where is the happiness in that? Well, there could be many, many different things that you are providing because that happiness factor is being uncovered every moment. Every moment. It is being revealed within you every moment. Because that is your only task. To be happy. Dearest beings of light, we are happy you are here. We love you deeply. We see you. We know you. We are you. And we bid you namaste. Namaste.